Hello again. Today's video is about Ringo Starr's second solo album, Beaucoups of Blues. We'll talk about when it came out and what the situation was and what the music is like and where it all came from. This is Ringo's country album. All the songs are straight up Nashville country, and they were all written by professional musicians, especially for this album. So in the spring of 1970, Ringo was helping George with his album, All Things Must Pass, and at the sessions, he met Pete Drake, the famous steel guitarist. So Pete sort of set Beaucoups of Blues up, promising that he could get the songs written and convincing Ringo to record it in Nashville, which was important to the sound. So in June, they recorded all of it, with Ringo on drums, of course, and singing, and Nashville pros like Charlie Daniels and Charlie McCoy as the band. It was all recorded in 3 days. Ringo always loved country music. You only have to glance at his vocal performances with the Beatles to see that. I mean, Act Naturally was a Buck Owens song he did for Help. He co-wrote the country tune What Goes On with John and Paul for Rubber Soul. And really, the first of his 2 solo-written Beatles songs, Don't Pass Me By, from the White Album, was straight up country, although weird in a kind of Beatle-y way. You could even argue, since we're getting carried away here, that Octopus's Garden from Abbey Road is basically a country song. Finally, the whole reason that Richard Starkey picked Starr for his stage name in 1959 was that Starr made him sound like a country guy. So Ringo's first album, which had only come out in April 1970, was called Sentimental Journey and featured Ringo crooning standards from the 40s and 50s over orchestral scores. It was charming and a very pleasant listen, but Beaucoups of Blues has a simplicity and emotional directness closer to Ringo's own heart. And we all know Ringo's voice, which suits his personality perfectly. Warm and unorthodox, occasionally uneven, but always appealing. And that's how he sounds on this album of country songs. And that, plus his perfect drumming and the overwrought emotion of the songs, are what makes Beaucoups of Blues so much fun. This is Ringo sounding happy, doing something he had never done before, singing and playing his very own real country songs. Just him for an entire album, over a fun couple days with good, no-nonsense friends and legends. The sense of musical joy on Beaucoups of Blues is sort of at odds with the atmosphere it was actually recorded in, though. The sessions were in June, just 2 months after his extreme unpleasantness with Paul McCartney, concerning the release date of Paul's first solo album. Now, the Beatles may or may not have been permanently broken up at that point, but that situation may have been the one that split the band for good. As the stories go, Ringo and Paul actually had a physical altercation over it. But as Ringo sang on his B-side early 1970, he still loved all 3 of the other Beatles and was willing to play with each of them at any time. And he, more than any of the others, did indeed collaborate with the other 3 Beatles throughout his post-Beatles years. It's a real tribute to Ringo's affability and personality that he could settle into the country songs on Beaucoups of Blues amidst all the turmoil of mid-1970. That's what makes his personality just as strong a bedrock for a band as his drumming. So its original title, Ringo in Nashville, was changed to Beaucoups of Blues, and the album came out in September 1970. It was the first Beatles solo album since McCartney 5 months earlier. George and John's first proper solo albums would be out before the end of the year. Very heady times. A few weeks after Beaucoups of Blues came out, Apple announced that a second Ringo country album would be released, featuring unused songs from the original sessions. Alas, it never happened. One long jam, Coochie Coochie, which Ringo actually wrote, was edited down and used as a single B-side, and a similar one called Nashville Jam made it as a bonus CD track in 1995. But that's all we've got. Now, at the time of its original release, the reception for Beaucoups of Blues was tepid at best, and Ringo shifted focus to his acting career for the next couple of years. Overall, 1970 was a great year for Beatles solo music. Many now regard Ringo's Beaucoups of Blues as one of the most enjoyable Beatles solo albums of all. It's Ringo Starr crooning his favorite type of music in happy surroundings and having a ball. It balances the heaviness of some of the others' work too. I mean, what's not to love? Thank you for watching. Please subscribe for more Beatles solo album overviews, and I will see you next time.